My parents found out what I do maybe 2 weeks ago, and I just had a conversation with them in person by like a block away. I'm gonna tell you the story of what happened because it's Monday, it's vlog day, and I'm just gonna tell you what's on my mind. And also, the more I get to know people who are into kink or exhibitionism or have some sort of, like a interesting sexual side life, that there's really a lot of shame going around. There's a lot of negativity around sexuality. And for a lot of people, it's either an existing wedge in the relationship with like your family or your friends, or it's a potential wedge. It's sort of the sword hanging over your life. It's like this dark cloud that kind of follows you around. And so maybe you're gay or you're bisexual or you're a refrigerator or whatever you identify as. And there are people in your life who are not going to be cool with that. Or you're just like a fucking slut. I think people who are just promiscuous have a lot less social support. There's not some special interest group of like fuckboys or special interest group of like sluts that you're gonna get a lot of support from when your family is like, what the fuck? So maybe this hits you in like a support group kind of way of like, there are people out there who are dealing with similar kinds of shit. It's hard because sexual stuff has such a stigma around it, and it's hard to even have the conversation, to like use the words that describe the situation accurately. It's hard for some people even to like say certain sexual terms, and if they hear them, it's just like their brain sort of shifts. So it's hard to have these conversations. So to tell you the story, my parents found out because there's some business document that got forwarded to their address, because I sometimes use that in the US as my address because I travel so much. I don't have a permanent address in the US because I don't live there, but I do banking there and all that kind of stuff. So there's a letter or something like that that has punk hands on it. My parents do a Google, and then there's their son fingering the vag. Fast forward 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm sitting with them over coffee just now, and luckily it didn't go as badly as I thought it might have. It could have been, we do not approve, we do not want to be associated with anything like this, you need to change. Because missing piece of the puzzle, my parents are very, very conservative Christians. So what I'm doing definitely falls into the hellfire category. Maybe it's asking too much, but the most positive, like best case conversation would have been something like, it's a wake-up call, apologizing, and tell me all about it. Let's talk about it. So disowning and wake-up call, let's work on this, let's be closer, let's get back that intimacy of when you were 3 or 4 years old and you could tell me anything. This conversation was somewhere like this. It was a lot better than it could have been. It was very friendly, but we didn't really go into what I'm actually doing. And I actually think that I fucked up on the conversation because I didn't go into it with a plan or an outcome that I wanted. I basically just showed up, because my thinking is, if I do something that's not hurting anybody, but it hurts you because you believe crazy shit you associate with these people, and that's your thing. That's your choice. I'm living my life. If my life affects you in a negative way because of crazy things you believe, I'm not ashamed of it, and I'm not going to accept the frame that, oh, you have to disassociate with certain people or you have to pick me or them. I'm not accepting the frame that that's anything to do with me. And you might disagree with me, but I think I did the wrong thing, and I think I should have pushed the conversation more towards the possibility of it being an opportunity for us to actually have a closer, more intimate, more open relationship. I should have pushed it that way, but I didn't. I basically pussied out, was passive, and they sort of had the conversation in a neutral to positive way, just sort of like don't ask, don't tell territory. That's where they were comfortable. But I actually don't want the relationship to be in this sort of lukewarm thing. At least I know that they're not going to disown me. It's a positive, but the air was not cleared, right? There's still, right now, if I saw them again, there would still be this sort of like shifting eye gaze thing going on. And maybe that's expecting too much from a single conversation, to where 2 weeks ago they thought that I just did video marketing, and now they know that I'm a content creator in the porn area. What does that make their son? And I don't want to go into the details, but they're actually in the process of changing careers because they thought that being associated with me would be such a negative thing. That's pretty heavy. Whether I agree with that or not, that's their thing. So expecting to just clear the air 100%, maybe I'm, expecting too much. But I feel like I pussied out. I feel like I didn't take the conversation to a place that would have actually been either good or bad. It's just sort of in the middle, right? And maybe you feel this way when you think about a conversation that you could have with a parent or with a friend around your sexuality, and you're like, just using those words will be so uncomfortable, one, and then two, I don't know if it's gonna go negative or positive. That was the situation that I was in just an hour ago. And I basically stepped back from that conversation and I went with the don't ask, don't tell. Sort of like implied that it's dirty or shameful what I'm doing. I mean, that's the implication, right? I think I should have taken my beliefs about yoni massage and whether it's good or bad, which I think it's fine. I think it's morally neutral. And I should have internalized that more and been like, I'm just gonna tell you guys what I do, right? Like if I was a stock trader or even if I worked in a tobacco company, you know, I would probably just talk about the job. So yeah, I should have done that. I didn't. I took the easy way out. Now, next time I see them, I'll have to have that conversation. And between now and then, a little bit of extra tightness in the chest because I didn't just get it out there. My recommendation, if you're in a similar situation where you got something in your life that is possibly gonna cause some drama, if it gets out there, if that conversation is had, I would say, and these are notes for me for this next conversation, which I'm gonna have with my parents. So one, think about how you actually feel and how you actually think and what are your actual beliefs. You have to clarify that. So doing this exercise for me is something that I need to think about in a very conscious way before I have that conversation next time with my parents, is giving sensual yoni massage to a girl, you know, like massaging a girl's pussy so she can get more in touch with her feelings. That's not positive and it's not negative, that's morally neutral, but I think that I'm actually doing a lot of good because there's not a lot of services out there for girls to get this sort of space. And I know that I help a lot of guys because they watch my videos. I get emails and messages all the time with guys who watch my free content even, and they pick up on a lot of the shit that I'm doing. Sometimes it's like the mindsets, the fluidity, sometimes it's the hand movements, sometimes just the idea that, oh, like a massage will be cool. And then of course I have my students who go through my class and, you know, they get a lot of benefits from making their girls squirt, blah, blah, blah. This is not infomercial. And then second, and again, this is for me, is you just gotta have the conversation. You gotta go there and feel the discomfort and just push through. I think the thing you want to think about is how much does the relationship matter to you? And then also, how much of a bitch are you willing to be? Because if the relationship doesn't matter, you're just like, this is who I am, this is it, accept, reject, I don't give a fuck. If the relationship does matter to you, you're gonna want to empathize with them more and be a little bit more strategic in how you deliver the information and how you package it. And maybe, you know, do you say this now, you say this the next time, right? If the relationship matters and you don't want it just to go away. But during that time, while you are dripping in the information and managing that relationship, you're basically accepting their frame for a time. Maybe in the future you're like, I will get to the point where nothing is off the table. Like I will be 100% transparent. But from now until then, you are the bitch in the relationship and you are basically accepting their frame less and less and less and less, kind of weaning them off of their frame. So ask yourself, how much do you care about the relationship? Are you cool to just throw it away if they don't accept it right away? And then ask yourself, like, can I bite my tongue for a bit? If you just can't, then like, fuck it. If that's not who you are, if you're like Mr. Asperger's and you're like,
these are the facts humans accept or I will go away.
If that's just who you are, probably don't try to force yourself into being some sort of a political sleazy person. Just put your cards out there. And I know that a lot of you are in a situation like mine. Probably not as extreme, but still a situation like mine. Because I went to a FetLife meetup a couple days ago, a munch, and talked to some people who were like, yeah, you know, I have this kink, this sort of thing that's outside of the mainstream, but I'll have to get married eventually because my parents will not accept anything like that. And like this thing, maybe it's BDSM, maybe it's, you know, like sex with strangers, maybe it's whatever the fuck you do, latex, and I don't even know a lot of the kinks. A lot of people think that their parents are not going to accept it, so they're trying to manage the situation like I am. And my advice to you, if you're out of their house, because if you're in their house, you do what you need to do to survive. But if you're out of the house and you now have a quote unquote adult relationship with them, think about what kind of a relationship you want to have. Are you comfortable with the don't ask, don't tell thing? Which is basically taking a part of your personality and not showing it. That's what it's about. It's about hiding from your parents and having that relationship be shallower because of it. If you're comfortable with that and you think that they would freak out and that relationship is important to you, like we talked about, yeah, maybe just hide it. I don't know. But like personally, I am definitely more of the don't want to be the bitch kind of thing. So now that the cat is out of the bag for me and my parents, I want that relationship to be either here or here. I want them to know what I do and for me to not have to bite my tongue around them. Or I want them to be like, no, we can't accept that. And then it's done. For me, that's an ideal situation. And I didn't take the conversation there today. So next time I'm gonna push it. I think that's gonna be healthy for the relationship. Actually, I don't care that much about the relationship in a I will do anything for the relationship with my parents kind of way. I care more about me. And for me, I don't wanna carry around toxic shame that is coming from, you know, just stupid bullshit beliefs that other people believe. I don't think those beliefs are true. I don't think those beliefs are beneficial. I think they actually hurt a lot of people. And I don't want to accept any shame because of that bullshit. And in this last conversation, I did accept some of the shame, right? It was on their side. They were trying to be friendly, but I took on some of that shame and I feel it right now. I feel like the air has not been cleared. I don't feel like I don't feel like that. I feel kind of constricted. So like I said, notes for me. Next time I need to, one, think about how I actually feel and think on this topic, like clarify my beliefs, right? Is this dirty? Is it bad? Is it negative? No, it's not, but I need to do deeper thinking on that. And then two, I need to take the conversation there, even though it is going to be awkward and weird in the short term. I need to be more polarizing and put out information that's either going to go this way and they'll accept it and it'll be a more open relationship, or it's going to go this way and they won't accept it and there won't be a relationship. And I'm okay with that. I'm actually more okay with that than something in the middle. So that is for me. Next time I need to have that conversation. And for you watching this, you're like, all right, I have that thing in my life, that part of me that I'm not showing to my parents or to maybe a very close friend or something like that, but they're not a fucking close friend. You don't share this shit. I want to say just tell them, but 3 weeks ago, I wasn't just going to tell my parents that I travel around Asia making girls squirt and putting it on all of the porn sites so that millions of people can watch it and so the guys learn my techniques. And so the girls want to message me and to get their own massage. I was not prepared to tell them that because they weren't a big part of my life already. They're actually kind of a minor relationship for me right now. You know, it's like there's certain levels of intimacy that you would have for different levels of relationships. And I guess my parents were at that level where it just like wasn't worth the effort. But now that it's out there, I don't want to do the don't ask, don't tell thing. So my advice to you, if you're thinking, do I tell the person in my life who doesn't know yet? I'd ask you to think, how big of a relationship is that in your life? Are you spending a lot of time, you know, basically shaming yourself, taking the bullshit shame out there and just like accepting it? If yes, I'd figure out how to clear the air. If no, maybe put off that conversation until they find out. So good luck. Figure out if you're gonna tell them or not, or if you're in the situation where they just found out. I would say go for it and have that difficult conversation. Maybe blunt if you're more in the nobody's bitch mode, or maybe more political and staged and orchestrated if the relationship matters more to you. That's it from Singapore. I'm going to be in KL in like 2 days, so next weekend, and then Jakarta, Manila, Hong Kong, and then I'm probably going to be in like Bali for a month or two just chilling out. So the Asian Summer Squirting Tour continues. City 2 up next, Kuala Lumpur. And if you want to check out some of the behind the scenes shit, follow my Instagram, Punk Hands.